Mayonnaise, bloody bits.
Malcolm.
Hey.
How are you doing, sir?
It's not live yet.
No?
Oh, there we go. Now it is.
Sweet.
Hey,
all right, man.
I'm doing good. How about you?
Well, I'm excited. We first had Ty West direct X, and then he did the prequel Pearl. Now he's going to finish off the trilogy with Maxine. I'm ready to jump into the trailer. How about you?
I'm really excited for this show. I've been waiting all day to see it. I didn't want to see it until this video because I wanted to get the pure reactions and go from where that starts. So yeah, I'm ready to jump in whenever you are.
Let's do it.
So, Maxine, your agent tells us you're quite a popular name in adult film and entertainment. Is that correct? I'm curious, did you always want to be in that line of work?
I always wanted to be famous.
If you need to read off the sides we gave you, just go ahead, all right?
I know the lines.
She turns to the camera and, through her trauma, addresses the lens directly.
Name 5 celebrities who got their start in horror movies.
Jamie Lee Curtis, John Travolta, Demi Moore, Brooke Shields, and
Maxine fucking Minx.
I don't like walking out here with that freaking Night Stalker guy in the loose.
The Night Stalker.
Night Stalker?
Night Stalker.
He's terrorizing Los Angeles.
I can handle myself.
So said every bad girl in Hollywood.
Maxine, I'm the private detective. I had to find you. My employer is a very powerful man. Past ain't finished with you. It's gonna keep knocking at your door.
Tragically, another victim of the Night Stalker.
I knew 3 people who were murdered in 3 days. I'd be pretty scared. What are you hiding, Maxine?
If I tell you something, we've got confidentiality.
What'd you do?
This is the defining role of your career. Whatever's going on in your life that's interfering with this picture, squash it.
I intend to. Maxine!
Maxine.
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 You're a fucking movie star.
All right, Malcolm, what are your first reactions to that trailer?
You know, that's how you make a trailer. I tell you, it had so many homages in that trailer alone to all these different things. And I love the whole Jello look, you know, where he's sitting there with the hat on and everything. The use of the lighting and everything seems so perfect. I think this could be the best one. I really do, because it just looks so incredible. I love the music in the trailer. I love Mia Goth. She was fantastic in it. The whole deadpan look and the whole, like, you know, I'm me and all this. And it just looks so crazy, but in the right way. What do you think?
Well, I knew it was going to take place in the 1980s, but I didn't know it was going to be 1985. And I like the fact it actually gave me PTSD because the Night Stalker was a real killer in Southern California in that time. Richard Ramirez, he has since passed away in prison, but I remember keep your doors locked. This guy is coming in through sliding glass doors or windows that are left open. So the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, was a real guy. So that is reality of Southern California.
Do you think at the end of it, they'll say in memory of and put his picture up?
No, but actually there was a season of American Horror Story a few years ago that did the same thing. It was a slasher themed season, and it dealt with Richard Ramirez, and a lot of people didn't realize that was a real guy. He had
was that the slasher one? The actual the one at the camp?
With 84, I believe it was?
Yeah. That's the one, yeah.
he actually had on his hand a pentagram when he got caught. So basically, I forget the number of people he killed, but it was a lot. And he eventually got caught in, I want to say East LA. And he tried to steal somebody's car, and the people in the neighborhood beat the shit out of him. And he ended up in prison.
Nice.
And yeah, they literally beat. But when there's a photo of him in the cop car, and he holds up his hand like this, and he's got that pentagram on his hand.
He did the David Blaine. He did the David Blaine. Remember the magician David Blaine, where he had the eye on his hand and he goes like this.
So no, I thought there was so much going on in that trailer, but in a good way. It was hard to process it all, but the look is right. It feels like it's the 80s. It's got a great cast. I did also see they had the Hitchcock house in there, the Bates Motel, you know.
They even had his mother in the window waving like this, which was obviously the older version of her.
I mean, they definitely packed a lot into it. It's definitely feels like the most ambitious of the three. I mean, I enjoyed X as well as Pearl, the prequel, but this one definitely seems to be.
It's on another level.
What did you think of the colors? Did it feel like a giallo to you?
Definitely had a very jolly atmosphere to it. A lot more than most of the jollies we get released, actually. It just felt like it. And the whole outfit, you know, the black outfit with the hat, the neon colors, even the shots, like the far away shots. It just felt so like, it's hard to explain, but it had that cinematography kind of view that just makes you look at it and go, whoa. You know, like it feels like a film. It feels old as well. And the other thing I like about it is it actually feels like it's in the 80s. You know, the colors, the style, the way the people are talking, the way the people are moving, the use of like what you would have had in the 80s. And it did feel very jolly to me. And I like that. To me, that makes me want to watch it even more. It's going to be probably a day one in the cinema for me.
So let's look at what about Ty West's career up to this point? What were some of the movies that you've enjoyed from him?
Well, obviously Pearl and X, and go on, name a couple.
Like some of the early stuff he did. So I think his first movie was called The Roost. He also directed Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever, but he had a falling out with the producers. I believe it's still his film, but the ending got changed. So it's a sore subject with him. But I would like to say that most of that film is his. But when I saw it at a Screen Fest film festival years ago, he kind of didn't want to talk about it. But watch it; it's definitely feels like a John Hughes splatter film.
It's a lot better than number 3.
Yeah, he doesn't want to talk about that film. So there was a falling out. He did the what was that? The Sacrament.
Oh yeah, that was good. I like that one.
The Jim Jones kind of cult film. He also did House of the Devil, which was very 70s retro.
Yeah, I remember that actually. Yeah.
And then with X, I think X and Pearl, they were shot back to back, and it kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think. I'm assuming
because I read that there might be a 4th movie.
So Maxine might not be it.
Yeah, apparently, because I read somewhere, I don't know if it's just rumor or just, you know, nonsense, but I read that there could be a 4th movie to actually finish it off, especially with how this one might get received, you know, when it's watched. Which I think would be good. You know, I mean, I like X. I like the kills in X, especially Brittany Snow's kill. I like that. I thought that's brilliant.
I thought that was interesting. They had that much confidence in him that while he shot X, they basically just used the same sets and made a prequel.
And it worked. You know, I would totally... You know, it's very rare to see a trilogy kind of thing with the same actress doing multiple roles. You know, like different girls, especially in the same movie. And it actually worked. So I really think it's probably one of the best trilogies, especially horror-wise, in years. I mean, do you name one better?
Well, we don't get a lot of trilogies anymore. I mean, it just seems like they start with one, and you're lucky to get a sequel half the time. So to get a third one is just
True.
well, A24 is, they're pretty popular, and their movies are not necessarily big budget, so it doesn't take a lot to make a profit.
It's true, like Lamb. Lamb wasn't
Is
big
that
budgeted.
Is that the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, that's the one with Naomi Rapace in it. So I think I said the name right. The one where basically she loses a baby, and you've got the lamb, and it's got in the trailer holding like the lamb's feet, and it walking with her as a kid. Have you not seen it?
No, I mean, I haven't seen all A24 films. I know they tend to be a little bit more serious and
You don't like
artsy.
that?
Sometimes a little artsy. What do you think of them as a studio? I mean, they pretty much, them and Blumhouse have taken over independent horror.
Well, didn't A24 release Ladybug with what's her name? Sharonan, her name? Because that was good comedy. So I think they're great. I think they're a great company. I think they definitely are better than Blue Mass, to be honest. I like them more. I think their movies are a lot more, a lot more well
Less
done.
commercial.
Blue Mass seems a bit cheap to me at times. I mean, that's probably controversial to people, but I think Blue Mouse, they're good. Don't get me wrong, I like their titles, but A24 is where it's at. And I know a lot of people don't like that because they're like, oh, this whole horror where it's, more than it's supposed to be. But I like that. I think it adds a little bit more depth to it. That's why I like Lamb, because even though it's not really a horror movie, there are elements in it that make you think and kind of mess with your head.
I think that Blumhouse is definitely more commercial, a little bit more. They release original stuff, but they have a lot of franchises. They got Halloween, they got Exorcist, where I think A24 kind of they start from scratch and just come up with, kind of let the filmmakers come up with their own ideas, and something like, Hereditary, or, was that Ari Aster, Midsommar, and Beau is Afraid. So what is your favorite A24 film so far?
Oh, I really love Lamb. Otherwise, I would have brought that up. I really love that one. And I would say probably Midsommar. And I would actually say, yeah, I probably like that one the most. It's a bit long and it's a bit overwinded, but I do like it. I like where it goes. I like the atmosphere. I like those kind of movies sometimes, not all the time, but I like it when you get into a place, there's this comfortability, but there isn't, and it slowly turns. A bit like the Wicker Man, I like that. You go into Wicker Man, you think, oh, they're a little bit weird. By the time you get to the end, you're kind of freaking out because you're like, this could happen at any time. If you go to the wrong place. And that's the biggest horror, the more realistic side of things. Things like Michael Myers, that's horror, sure. But that's not realistic. He's not going to get back up. He's not going to, if I smack him around the head with a frying pan, he's going to be knocked out for a while. But when it comes to like this cult thing or whatnot, it's scary. It's sweet. So yeah, I think Midsommar.
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit too long for me and took a while to get going. But I definitely felt the Wicker Man vibes. I felt Hereditary was much stronger.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was original, and it went places that, when the girl gets decapitated, it happened, or she gets killed, but you don't know exactly, the gruesome details. But he actually waits a little bit before you see the severed head in the street with, ants all on it. And very.
What was that film that was directed by the person that did Hereditary, but was similar to it, but people really liked?
I don't know.
Because they said it was just like Hereditary.
All I know is Hereditary is the only A24 film I've seen in theaters so far.
Okay. Well, maybe it wasn't A24 then. Maybe it was by the director, but somewhere else. It's just I just remember people talking about it, going, it was too much like it, and it was just as good. It reminded me of that, you know. Was Invisible Man one?
That's a Blumhouse.
Yeah, it's Blumhouse. I thought it was. Yeah, I like that one. I thought that was good. Did you like it?
I did, but I wanted to say we have a whopping one person watching. So if that one person can come in the comments and keep us company, it would be awesome.
Say hello, guy. Guy behind screen number 1. Say hello.
Yeah. But anyways, no, The Invisible Man, I did enjoy. That was Blumhouse. I know that the director, Lee Winnell, is working on The Wolfman right now, which is supposed to come out next year.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
So I don't know. The whole Dark Universe thing was Universal. And then that Mummy movie with Tom Cruise, which was expensive, just flopped. And it kind of, that whole universe fell apart. So I don't know. Blumhouse is connected to Universal. So I'm not sure if this is more of a micro-budgeted version of, you know, the Universal monsters. So, Malcolm, you have frozen. You're frozen, Malcolm. There you go. Malcolm, can you see me? Oh, okay. We have some glitches going on Malcolm. That's the joys of going live. Let me remove him and hope he comes back. And yeah, we just checked out the trailer for Maxine. Really enjoyed it. Waiting for Malcolm to make his way back in. Let's see if we can get him.
Sorry about that. StreamYard.
Let me remove you here. There you go.
StreamYard. So yeah, because originally they were after the Mummy. I know after the Mummy with Tom Cruise, they were going to do an Angelina Jolie, Bride of Frankenstein, right? But then that never happened, did it?
Well, Guillermo del Toro, I mean, has wanted to do his own Universal monsters, and I'm not sure why they wouldn't allow him to do them. They're already spending a lot of money, at least with the Mummy movie with Tom Cruise. At least let this guy who's a fan, who's proven that, you know, his films not only make money, but they get Oscar nominations, and sometimes they get Oscar wins. So we shall see.
I mean, did you like the Tom Cruise The Mummy?
I couldn't get through it. The problem is it's a Mission Impossible film with a mummy in it.
Yes, it is. It's exactly that. You've nailed it. That's definitely it. Because that's what made it so boring and so tedious. For me, I mean, I thought all Tom Cruise and the Mummy and then him being chased and all this stuff, it just didn't feel like it was what it should have been. At all. I didn't feel any horror in it. I didn't even feel like it respected the old horror in its own way. I didn't think it did that at all.
I'm not even a big fan of the Brendan Fraser films directed by Stephen Sommers, but I will take that film. At least the Mummy is front and center and is the star of the film. You put somebody like Tom Cruise in it, and it just, you're shocked. You know what I mean? Like
I love the. I sort of. Oh God, sorry.
No, I just feel like, man, the Mummy's got to be the star. It doesn't have to be in every scene, but once you put a mega A-lister like Tom Cruise, I guess this is what you get. And I know the director, after the movie came out, he wasn't too happy with the experience. So,
well, the first Mummy film with Brendan Fraser, I really like. The second one is cheesy, goofy fun, and the third one is just a mess. I mean, Jet Li should have been this phenomenal Mummy. You had him, you had all these, you had Anthony Wong, you had all these people in it, and it just was terrible. I mean, you had Michelle Yeoh in it, I believe, if I'm correct on that one. She was in it, and it just was awful. I mean, the second one, if you count, because you can't count the Scorpion King because it's a complete spin-off, so you can't count now because it's not the Mummy, but you can count it in the second movie. It's so stupid. The first one where he goes, where the mum goes, and he does it back him. It's hilarious. But I think that's because I saw it in the cinema when I was like 10. So, and I always love Benny. I love how Benny gets those scallops at the end.
And I think the first two actually went theatrical, and the ones after that were straight to video.
Yeah. I think the third one got limited theatrical because of the cast in it. But I don't think it lasted very long because it was a real miss because Rachel Weisz wasn't in it, which was a big failure. And you know, they did the whole Sun arc, which after the second one was a bit.
We're up to 3 people watching, Malcolm.
Three people.
We are breaking records.
Say hi. Say hi to us.
Say hi. This channel is about the fans as much as it is me and Malcolm or anybody. Oh, we lost somebody just saying that.
Say hi, guys. Say hi. I like human pork chops too. Say that.
Okay. Explain to people your screen name. What does that mean?
Okay, I'll show it quickly. So Human Pork Chop was a Hong Kong movie that came out in the 90s. And basically, it's based on a real horrific thing that happened to a woman. So I'll give it in detail if it isn't too violent for Pearl, because I know how people who watch horror in America are a lot more squeamish about this stuff. So, but anyway, so these guys commit a crime and they save one of the girlfriends of the guy, and she's a little bit of a, you know, weakling in that sense, so they can take advantage of her. After a while, they take drugs, they do all this other stuff, and they slowly start basically torturing her, doing things to her that I can't say on the stream, but would, you know, because the video get taken down. After a while, they decide that they need to start making some soap. So how do they do it? They make some human pork chops. Now, this movie is very, very rare. I saw this on VCD when I was 14 and then never saw it around ever again. This week, I found this DVD on the love of my life called eBay, and I picked it up. How much do you think this movie was?
I'm going to run on the high end. $50?
200.
But is it a bootleg or is it a legit?
No,
copy?
it's a genuine disc. So what happened was, after this came out, there was a lot of people discussing it. They got banned because they said it was one of the most vile, disgusting portrayals of a real crime. But they were like, no, nobody should own this. So there's limited releases of it. If you owned it in Hong Kong or in that area, and people knew, the government at the time, I don't know now, but at the time, they would destroy it. So it's a bit like the old VHS nasty days, you know, like the pre-code thing, but they'd get rid of them. So it was kind of like that.
What year did that movie come out?
I believe it came out in It definitely came out in the 90s. I think it was like 1994, 1995, I believe. I'm sure IMDb would probably say I'm wrong on that. Maybe 1997. But it wasn't that. It's not that old. But it's very rare. And the other thing is about this DVD is to find it in a mint condition is even weirder. So I thanked the guy on eBay. I even sent him a message after I bought him saying, "Will you marry me?" And I made sure he sent this first before I said that, because I thought he might, you know. But yeah, so my name, Human Pork Chops, is because of this. Because in the end, they make her into a human pork chop, and it's a very disgusting movie. Now, don't get me wrong, it's very tame now to a lot of people, but back then, people were freaking out. It was like watching the guinea pig films mixed with real, like, faces of death in it, you know, like horrible kind of in people's minds. But nowadays, if you watch it, you kind of go, oh, it's not as bad as Saw. But I think the thing that really scares people is the fact that it's actually a real story. It's real. It happened. There was a similar story, not to go off subject, but there's a similar story that happened in Japan with a girl, I believe, called Jinko or Junko. And she was with a Yakuza guy. She was a schoolgirl. And basically, similar thing happened, but they were far worse for her. Like, they poured candle wax in her eyes and everything. I mean, it was awful, you know. And there is a film of that film as well, but that's extremely hard to get. And I wouldn't recommend that film because it's supposed to be a lot like, massacre video type movies where they're really cheap and nasty. So, yeah, that's where my screen name today comes from. And as people know, I always change my screen name every time I'm on a video. So,
is that film category 3?
Yeah, it's classified as category 3, but it's also classified, because you see the category 3 down there. That's the rating there. Category 3. So, yeah, it's classified as that. But category 3's, a lot of people get confused because category 3 can be anything. Halloween, for instance, could be category 3 in Hong Kong. Because, hey, Dove said yes. Hey, our first commenter. No, you didn't. If you did, I'd hope it was signed by by BTK.
So when I first, hey, Darvidius, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I want to make sure anybody comes in and spends the time of their day with us, I recognize them. When I first saw your screen name, I automatically thought of Big Trouble in Little China, the Pork Chop Express.
Yes.
But obviously, what you're talking about is completely different.
See, that's the thing, isn't it? That's what I like. That's one of the things I love about movies. I can put a screen name, you think of something, it's saying different, but at the same time, it brings back memories to everybody of different things.
So just for anybody who's showed up now, we've kind of jumped all over the place. We already watched the trailer for Maxine with the triple X in the name. It looks amazing, but we're kind of jumping around. I'm ready to go another 30 minutes to make this an hour video. So I don't care what we talk about. Yeah, I don't care what we talk about.
You don't care what we talk about?
No, that's just bullshit. We're here,
Let's talk about big bosoms. You
have big bosoms?
Well, obviously I must do, mustn't I? If I, so
do you need a bro or a manzir? You know what?
Okay, let's say manzir. Why not? Just say manzir randomly.
Do you know what I'm referencing when I say that? Where I got that from?
I know it, but I can't remember.
Seinfeld.
There you go, Seinfeld. You know, I've never watched the whole of Seinfeld. My
favorite show ever. Like, there's so many pop culture references that have come from that show. Also, I was thinking about Seinfeld. I'll go ahead and give people a sneak preview. The next video I'm doing is a retrospective I did with Malcolm on The Dentist 1 and 2. And I was really hoping that you didn't like one of those films or both of them. This is another Seinfeld reference. So I could have called you a anti-dentite bastard. Because if you've never watched Seinfeld, that means nothing to you. But there's an episode.
I've seen episodes, but I've never been able to, I guess it's fake, but I know Seinfeld's a massive, it's one of the greatest shows of all time. Don't get me wrong, I know that. But I've never had the opportunity to, get the box sets. It's a show I'd love to watch. I keep hoping it comes out on maybe Blu-ray at some point, like better quality or something. So that it's out there more. Because I'd love to watch it.
I think a lot of television shows of that era, because that started late 80s and went through the 90s, the picture quality might not even be good. But it's kind of like Seinfeld is like I Love Lucy, meaning you never really need to buy it because it's always going to be in reruns and syndication forever. Seinfeld,
if you're watching TV, that is.
Well, Seinfeld is such big bucks that Netflix paid for the rights. They still show it on regular TV. I mean, there's not a day of the week that you can't turn on some station and there's an episode.
It's like Friends, isn't it, really?
Seinfeld, Friends. Then there's other ones you have to
Raymond.
MASH.
Let's say Charmed.
Doctor Who. MASH, Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Hey, Doctor. I always call Donna Whoa. I say she's a Doctor Whoa.
Whoa?
Yeah, Whoa. Yeah. Not Whovian, a Whoa. A Whoa. Love it.
So let's jump back into Maxine. So
Sure.
Malcolm, you should watch all 9 seasons of Seinfeld and do a retrospective with Benet next week. Can
Next
you fit
week?
can you fit in 9 seasons, and which is probably well over 100 episodes?
Well, that would be because would it be 22 episodes a season?
We're probably talking at least
You look at nearly
150.
200, don't you? Like nearly 200 by the end almost. I could do that.
I don't think Darth Sidious realizes. Just let everybody know. Jesus, how many movies
Let
have you?
everybody know Jesus. Praise him. He is here.
How many movies have you purchased? Physical media movies just in the last week?
In the last week, I've probably picked up about. Let's put the real number, yeah. For about 516.
500, and you're not joking, just so everybody
No.
knows out there. Malcolm's not kidding when he throws out these big numbers when it comes to physical media.
That's me. I buy media. That's why I start running out of media to buy one thing and I have to go on to another thing. Okay, so I got to go across the world now and buy from Asia. And like I said, I've said yes, I'm trying to get some Nigerian movies now to watch.
It will take me probably 5 years to purchase that many movies, honestly. Even with the subscription to Vinegar Syndrome, which probably only equates to like 60 movies a year. Even if you're only paying $1 a pop, which you're not, that's $500. You're probably
what can I say? I find the deals. I've always been good at that.
No, you're finding deals, but even if you're paying $20 each one, that's a lot of dinero, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I tell Donna. Right? Donna's my wife, in case people don't know. I say, look, if we ever run out of money, you're going out in the street, you're going to earn our food, and your part of the food is going towards movies for me, and you can have the scraps. And she always looks at me, and at that point, I hide under the table, and she comes home and starts kicking me up the butt. So,
if you kick her to the curb, what I would do if I was her is take all your damn movies and use them as a pillow and as a bed, and just lay on all your crappy films.
All my crappy films,
and she could do what she could do, the Snow Angel. It just
oh god, what you mean with them outside the cases so they all scratch on the floor?
Oh, the slip covers are destroyed, the movies are broken, scratched.
She does it. She grabs hold of my movies sometimes. I go, don't touch it there. And she's like, what? It's just a movie. And I'm like, it's not just a movie. It's an institution. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't touch that side. You know, it's very, what do you call it? When my TV, she leans near the TV, and I have to literally go up next to her and put my hands to the side and push her away because I'm so scared of knocking the TV down.
So since we kind of went on TV shows, what are like a couple of your favorite all-time TV shows?
Couple of my favorites. He's going to have to become a gigolo to cover the Hong Kong imports eventually.
He's going.
Well, yeah. I've said this would pay for me. He'd pay for me to be a gigolo. He'd invite me round. Okay, let me try and think because I've got quite a few. I don't want to. One of my favourite shows of all time is The Sopranos, which is really cliched, really, because those people say that. So I kind of don't want to say that, but it is. It's the one show I can watch over and over again. Life and Times of Tim. I love. Do you remember that show?
No, it doesn't sound familiar at all, actually.
It was a HBO show that went on for 3 seasons, and each episode was like 2 episodes in one. And it was about a guy called Tim. And it was cheaply drawn thingy, but perfectly done. And what would happen is it was always him getting into really bad situations and misunderstandings, and always basically just looking worse and worse each episode. It was brilliant. So in a way, it was like horror because it was the horror of him constantly never getting a break. So I like that. Nip Tuck is another one of my favourite shows. Until the season 6, I really didn't like season 6 that much. My favourite season, the Carver season. I love the Carver. The mask and that. No, I love that. Another one of my favourite shows is probably Slasher, which I've only seen the first 3 seasons of, but that show is brilliant to me. I really like it. Underbelly, which was a gangster show based on true stuff. What else? It was too big on 24, even though I've got a complete collection. Oh, Randall and Hopkirk, Deceased. Did you see that?
No, it sounds like a lot of the shows that you liked were cable shows.
Yeah, and mostly, obviously, British shows as well, because obviously I'd have grown up around them. Because I think we mostly watch what we grew up around. Luckily, because when I was a kid, that's when Sky and all that started becoming bigger and bigger. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was in the 80s. But when I was growing up, you got more channels, you had more choice. So I got to see things like more teen shows like Sister, Saved by the Bell, and all this stuff. And yeah, some of them are my favourite shows, but they're my favourite shows if I'm having a conversation like this because we want to talk about adult shows tonight.
Well, I think too, when we grew up, there was a lot of sitcoms, and basically you followed either CBS, NBC, ABC, and then obviously later on Fox. And I think in the last couple of decades, cable has become so strong because they've been able to pull directors and stars. And some of these television shows, especially long form ones, are so well done with a good sized budget. They pulled a lot of talent in. Like I love Dexter, that was on Showtime.
Well, Dexter's great. The last season wasn't good, but the others were.
Well, no, but they did a new season. Remember, they brought it back.
Yeah, but that was awful.
I thought it was great. They finally.
Well, you thought it was great. I can't spoil it, can I? You thought the ending was great at that.
Well, it did what it should have done when its initial run on Showtime. I mean, there might be some people out there that still haven't seen it, but I like the fact that they kind of realized, they kind of left it open-ended soap opera kind of finale in the original show.
I'll be honest with you. I love that he married his sister in the show. I love it. And to me, that was one of the greatest things ever.
And you know what? It's one of the few shows where the first episode I was hooked.
Yeah, me too, actually. The first season, this was long before I met Donna. I was talking to a woman online, and she said to me, okay, let me tell you about the show. It was Dexter. And she said, what do you think the plot twist is? And I said to her, the plot twist is that it's his brother. Right? And she said, how did you know? And I went, because it was obvious by the way you set it up. Who else would it be? But I will say this. I really do like the first 5 seasons of Dexter. I really like them. But for some reason, I could never get into 6 and that. And the last one I didn't get into. But it's like Breaking Bad. I love Breaking Bad, right? But I really couldn't get into the last season of that either.
Well, I like the cast besides, the lead is, I like, Jennifer Carpenter and the guy that plays Masuka.
Michael C. Hall.
Michael C. Hall is great. And then, of course, Dokes, which sadly he got killed off, but he talked.
I love Dokes.
Every other word out of his mouth was a curse word, which is exactly the way I
love
normally talk. I rarely.
What about Jamie Murray? What about Jamie Murray in the second season? She's one of the most beautiful women ever to grace TV. I tell you. Oh, and Julie Benz when she's in. Okay, the most important thing of Dexter is when Julie Benz is in the Tomb Raider outfit. I remember being a teenager watching that over and over and over again. And I'm not going to explain why, because anyone who's Red Blade Mal will know why. But I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're right. It's one of the greatest of all time for those 2 reasons.
Yeah, you like to bend her over?
Yes, I'd love to bend her over and do some tomb exploring with her.
Well, and also, I had a connection to Dexter, too, was a lot of the filming was done in my hometown of Long Beach. So I would literally watch episodes and go, I know where that's at. I know where that's at.
Oh, wow.
A lot of Long Beach is a very popular destination for films. Lethal Weapon 4, the beginning where that gas station blows up, gas station was built It was in downtown Long Beach just to be blown up. Gone in 60 Seconds, the remake.
Yeah.
The bridge,
Nicolas
it's called the Vincent Thomas Bridge, which goes from Long Beach to San Pedro. So if you see a lot of movies with ports and docks and
They use that
shipping
to make them work.
containers, it's I think To Live and Die in LA shot it quite a bit there.
So
The
a lot of
original
Fast and
Love
Furious
Boat.
movies were shot there then.
Oh, just hundreds. Love Boat. That opening where the ship docks out, that's over in Port Sacal, which is San Pedro, which is the other side of Long Beach. So I have Last Action Hero. The scene with
Nice.
there's an arena with a whale mural on it, and they built like a hotel next to it. That's straight up my roots.
What
My
about,
hometown.
okay, since you mentioned it, were you a fan of the Love Boat?
Dude, I can still remember Saturday night, ABC. It was Love Boat and Fantasy Island.
Yeah. You know, the song is so catchy. Mel's favorite film to get him in the mood. It is actually. Judi Dench in that is a fine piece of. That's why I was glad when they made the sequel. Because I was like, ooh, now I can have double the pleasure.
Double the fun, double mint gum.
Double the fun, double the pleasure. 2 TVs, 2 Judi Denches on the screen. What else could you want?
Yeah, but Dexter's a favorite. Seinfeld, Married with Children.
Oh, that's a classic.
That
you can't go wrong with that.
That show would be canceled so quick if it came on now because people would just run to social media and be like, because it offends everybody, but it does it in a way that you have to laugh at yourself
It makes
once
him
in a while.
lovable.
Well,
Makes it lovable, doesn't it?
You can't take life too seriously, but it's a product of its era. It would not last today because people would just, nope, this is offensive. It's offending these people and that people, but it's a comedy. It's supposed to poke fun.
I really liked the reunion they had on 8 Simple Rules. You know, the cast, the main cast. What's her name? What's her name? I know their names. You know, the Al Bundy guy and the other and the woman.
Katie Seagal, Ed O'Neill.
That's it. Yeah, they had like a reunion in 8 Simple Rules, like how John Ritter did with Three's Company on the show as well. It was just such a great show, 8 Simple Rules.
And what do you feel about TV shows that actually do reboots? Sometimes it works. I mean, they do it 10, 15, 20 years later. Like I know Full House did. Fuller House, and is it not the same? Does it not work?
Fuller House was terrible because they didn't have the Olsen twins in it. They should have been in it.
Yeah, and it's also, I know that like Tim Allen has floated the idea of bringing back Home Improvement, but one of the sons I think is in jail right now. He's had some legal problems. It's almost sometimes you got,
when they brought that back, and Roseanne Barr got kicked out of it for the things she said. Which was, depending on how you feel, I'm not going to go into basically if you're this or that. I thought the show would be terrible without her. And it's not doing too bad. I mean, it's called The Conners. It's not too bad, but it's not the most brilliant show in the world. But it's one of those things that you wouldn't expect to still be going.
Yeah, like if you did Home Improvement, the actor who played Wilson, he's passed away, so... Every show.
Did he get lost? Did Wilson get lost on an island somewhere with Tom Hanks?
It's missing something if you were to redo it, but I don't think Patricia Richardson, who played, the mom, has no interest.
Yeah.
One of the sons has got legal troubles. I think a couple don't even do acting anymore. Sometimes it works to bring people back, and sometimes
you just have to let it go. They brought Saved by the Bell back, didn't they? With the original cast. With them having kids, and I thought that was awful because they were trying to keep it too much like the original one, but different, and it just had a real kind of weird aesthetic to it, but just made it really dull. And that's what, let's say 993, so maybe 25 years later when it started airing. Okay, that's easy.
Man.
That's easy.
talk about one
Mary
show.
Roseanne, FK, Peg Bundy, and Kill Claire Huxtable. Didn't even think about that.
Well, talk about one show that you can never bring back is the Cosby Show.
That's true.
You can never. That's just not happening, man. It's
It's sad, isn't it?
our childhoods were
sad 'cause-
destroyed by the things that we didn't know about people.
See, that's the thing that really gets to me. It's like I agree with what's his name? Oh God, did Jimmy Fix It? Why can't I remember his name? You know the guy I'm talking about, don't you? Jimmy Fix It. Jimmy Savile. That's it, Jimmy Savile. All right. He, you know, people idolized him when my mum was a kid because Jim will fix it. Then the things come out about him, and you heard all these horrible stories. Same with Rolf Harris. And it's like these people are all big parts of our childhood. And when you find out that these nice, kind, caring, or what we thought at the time because of show business, thingy, and Bill Cosby's a prime example of that. It just kind of destroys the idea of when you watch those shows and seeing him in them playing a dad and stuff, because you just kind of hate that feeling that you get of that. Oh, you know, it's like Grace Under Fire, right? Love Grace Under Fire. After reading out that she flashed herself to like the 10-year-old kid on the show, I was absolutely, I can't watch this now because it wasn't me on the show. So I can't watch it.
Well, then you kind of have that Nickelodeon documentary that people kind of knew it was an open secret about Dan Schneider. And it's such a bummer because I really did like, I still like Head of the Class.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, it was one of the shows I went back and binged, and it didn't lose anything. But his character in the show was kind of a douchebag, and you realize he's even worse in real life.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of stuff's come out about what's gone on over there.
I feel bad. I feel bad for the cast because when you look at shows like iCarly and Victorious and even the older ones like Drake and Josh Nat and even older, right? You look at them and you go, yeah, now I'm not a kid. These things are really disturbing. These things that you see in it. Like, I can't remember, but there was one time when I was a kid, I went, why the hell is that happening in this? This is really weird. Like, why am I watching a girl basically jump into a pool practically, you know, nude? You're like, what? You know, it's really weird. But as a kid, you're just like, oh, look, yeah, this is awesome, you know. But as an adult, you're like, you go in like dad mode and you're like, oh, just, and kind of get disgusted, you know.
Also, another favorite is Cheers with Ted Danson. I was more of a Kirstie Alley Cheers fan than I was a Shelley Long. I like Woody more than I like Coach. I like Kirstie Alley more than Shelley Long. I'll watch those early seasons, but I actually think it got better as it went along.
So, did you like the sequel, spin-off show then, Frasier?
Never watched an episode.
Cheers. Yep, cheers. That's the like low budget version. Cheers. It went side by side with Cheers. So if you couldn't afford cable, you watched it on the analog channels, and it was Cheers, and it just had everybody basically dressed the same, and a bit like watching American Dad compared to The Simpsons.
Which one do you prefer?
What, American Dad and The Simpsons? Probably American Dad, to be honest. I loved The Simpsons as a kid. But as I got older, it kind of just got a bit tedious. I mean, I've heard it's got better over the years again. But I think the problem is that it just doesn't... the characters never seem to grow or anything. So... You know.
I mean, I recall it started off as a skit on the Tracy Ullman show, probably like in 86, 87. Obviously, it became its own thing. I actually don't watch the episodes anymore, kind of because what she said. They're all stunted. They're at the same age. And while it's still a funny, well-written show, I think I kind of steered away from it after I saw the movie in the theaters. I thought the Simpsons movie, I thought It went out on a
Spy the pig.
Does whatever a pig does.
Best bit in the movie. Ha ha! And Homer jumps in the night and he's like, ah! I love that.
The only episode that I watch are the Halloween episodes. No matter what,
I think that's what most people do, to be honest.
Because they're all great. They tap into old movies, new films. I will make a point when it's October to set my DVR for the Halloween episode, but I don't watch the other episodes. I just kind of stick to the Halloween ones.
Good thing they're not continuations then, don't they?
Yeah, I think I guess that they still get watched. So what about, you got American Dad, Simpsons, you got King of the Hill. What about King of the Hill, Futurama? What's the one that Seth MacFarlane does?
Futurama. There was Futurama, and there was there's Family Guy.
There you go.
I used to love Family Guy when I was a kid. Well, not kid, teenager. I used to love Family Guy when I was a kid. So they do still hold up. Do you know the other Simpsons episode that was holds up? The original one with Snowball.
That was the cat, right?
Yeah.
Snowball. I can remember that all these years later.
And Itchy and Scratchy was always stolen from Tom and Jerry.
Oh, definitely. And actually, that is one of my favorite Halloween episodes, where I think it's Bart and Lisa go into their world through the TV. The remote control sucks them in, and they're like, "Hey, let's not fight. Let's go after them." And so that one's
I like that.
You okay?
I got a bit of an itchy and scratchy there. Ooh.
You choking on some human pork chops or what, dude?
Yeah, from earlier. I'm getting it coming back up now. There's gonna be a hand in a minute going. But Family Guy I used to like. And there's Star Trek, isn't there? Loading Docks or whatever it's called now, which is similar. South Park I've always thought was incredible. And I think the reason I like South Park is because even though they're still the same age, there's adult themes in it. There's constantly movement. It's always hitting something that's happening in the media. So I think I've always liked that.
So do you watch the Animation Domination Sundays on Fox 11?
No, because we don't have it over here.
Over on the pond, you don't have that?
No, because I don't watch TV, do I?
No, you just watch the 500 movies
just watch what I buy
on Blu-ray.
I watch what I buy, so I will watch stuff if I can at some point. So if someone recommends something, I will give it a go and watch it if it's if I can find it.
Oh,
Lower Decks, that's it. Lower Decks, not Loading Docks.
Did you call it Loading Docks?
I called it Loading Docks.
Dumbass. Lower Decks. Oh my God.
Hey, I think Loading Docks is better.
What about the other Seth MacFarlane show that's kind of like Star Trek? What is that? I'm drawing a blank. It's like his own version of Star Trek.
Oh, you talking about the Orville?
There you go.
I bought that for Donna because she's a massive Star Trek fan. And we sat down and we watched it together and we were both laughing. It's a great show. It's a shame it got cancelled after its third season because I think that could have had a lot more episodes. But apparently it was taking so long to make them because everybody was in their own different, things they were doing. And Seth MacFarlane, you got to think, he's doing American Dad, he's doing Family Guy, he's writing films. He wrote that TV series for Ted. And he was doing that. So, all the time adds up, doesn't it?
Do you feel like that the Orville goes well with Galaxy Quest?
Yeah, I think so. I think they do go probably inspiration for it, really. Do you like it? Do you think that's so?
You know what? I need to start watching some of the Orville. I know that a lot of people that are either Trekkies or Trekkers actually think Galaxy Quest is the best unofficial Star Trek film ever made. I know it's celebrating its 25th anniversary this year.
That means it's going to get 4K.
We used to play it when I worked at Suncoast Video way back in the ancient times. It was one of those films when it came out, we could play in the store because it wasn't rated R. So
Yeah.
That it kind
You
of brings
saw it
me
a lot
back.
of times then.
Those sold well around that same time we were playing Bring It On, The Wedding Singer. All these films did really well. So thinking about Galaxy Quest kind of teleports me.
Memories.
It teleports me
Hey,
back
did
to
you never pick up the documentary that came out in the partner labels?
No, which one was that?
It was basically from ETR, I believe, and it was the Galaxy Quest. It was a documentary, I think like an hour and a half documentary, but was made. I'm not sure it was made by the same people, but did you know like the James Bond and that kind of thing? But I know it was ETR. He should cosplay as Picard.
You know what? As far as Star Trek goes, I wasn't a fan of the original television series, but I did like when they did their films, 1 through 6.
Yeah, they were good.
But I did like The Passing of the Torch. I did watch The Next Generation. I like the Picard, all that cast with Jonathan Frakes and, Marina Sirtis. And those films.
I love Wolf.
Dwarf, and I love the
always
film.
related to Wolf.
Because you're hairy?
Yeah, you go. And because I'm terrified of women.
I like Generations, the Passing of the Guard, First Contact, Nemesis, Insurrection. Last Christmas, I finally got around to Picard, and I got through season 1. I still needed to 2 and 3, but I thought, man, I didn't think I was going to like it.
Number 2. People despise season 2.
I'm going to get to it soon. It's kind of, I put it on the back burner. I really did think though, season 1, I was like, this is not going to work. They're older, and it was perfect. I thought season 1 was perfect. Obviously 2, you're telling me there's mixed reviews. I think season 3, without watching it, I know the original cast and kind of give it the completion it deserves. But yeah, I'm definitely more of a Star Wars guy, but I love Next Generation, the series, and the movies.
Yeah, I've always been a big Next Generation person. What's this? Mother also speaks Klingon, but actually, I talk in tongues when I'm in bed with the wife.
Oh, good one.
See,
that's how you. That's how you stayed married for a long time. You speak in tongues.
Exactly. That's how you got to do it. You got to do it to stay married. Otherwise, you get called selfish. See, you got to smell. You got to get the shellfish in order to not be selfish. I'm with you. I like Star Trek. I've never been a big fan of it. I've never been the biggest fan of it. I appreciate it and I enjoy it, but I've never been the biggest fan. Star Wars, I loved the prequel ones, 1, 2, and 3, but only because that was my years growing up with them, I remember putting on the original ones when I was really young on VHS, and the bit where Darth Vader's helmet come off, I literally cried in bed and screamed all night because it was horrifying. It scared the bedazzle out of me so much that I could not sleep for days, and I had to hide. I kid you not, this is how small I was. I had to climb under my mum's shirt and hide there and was shaking for like hours.
Well, here's what we're going to do, because if we jump into Star Wars, and I'm a big Star Wars fan, we could talk another hour. What we'll do is the next time we do a live video, we're going to kind of on the back end of whatever we're discussing, you said the prequels were good. I'm going to leave it at that. You said the prequels were good.
I said because I was a kid. I said I was a kid at the time.
It don't matter if you're a kid to realize how awful those things were.
Here we go. We're going to get, this is going to end up being a debate.
Well, that's why I'm going to leave it at that, because we're coming up on an hour. We didn't talk a whole lot about Maxine, but again, we're just going off We're just going off.
This is reminding. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the upcoming dentist film. Retrospective. It was like, oh, what did you think of this movie? Oh, over here, you know. They're always the best videos though, because it means you're comfortable, you're enjoying it, you're having fun, you know.
Yeah, Malcolm and I on April 10th, so Wednesday, I have a retrospective going up on The Dentist 2, directed by Brian Usna. If you have Fear of the Dentist, you're going to enjoy this film, because not only do we talk about the film, we go into our personal experiences and kind of open up and talk about ourselves away from, you know, being fans. I think it's a really cool conversation.
As usual, I sexualize everything.
Well, that's you. Your mind is always in the gutter.
It is.
But
100%.
I think this again, Malcolm, I thought Maxine, it looks great. I won't know until I watch it. I believe it comes out in June, so we got a couple more months. But
I think what we should do is when that comes out, because we've done this, I think we should watch it and we should do like a video on it talking about it and what we both thought after obviously seeing it, you know, like here.
No, we can do that. Let's both make a point to try to watch it opening weekend, and we can come back on a Monday and do a review recap.
Yeah, I think we should do that, because I think that would be pretty cool. Obviously, you'll buy my ticket for me, and and so I get free entry.
No. The way you buy physical media, you have a lot more money than I do, so you get to buy my ticket. And you don't.
I get to buy your ticket. Yeah. What?
Do you have any children, Malcolm?
I do actually. I have 6 kids.
Your cats and dogs and birds do not count. How many children do you have? 0.
None.
That's right. Well, I think this is a good place to pause. Say thank you to Darcidius. I know there's a few other people were watching, but this is a total open conversation for everybody. In the comment section, please let me know. Did you like the video? Do you want me to do more live videos? My schedule's kind of upside down, like Stranger Things. So it's kind of hard for me to do these other than probably Monday. The rest of the week, it's just very difficult.
Well, just so people know, I don't want to cut in there. If you do want to see more of these and you want to see them, I can always make my Monday free for them. So,
yeah, we could do them. I know a lot of people are not on my time zone, which is Pacific, you know, California. Some people, like you're in England. People are all over the place. So I understand it doesn't really work. Some people might be sleeping. That's unfortunate about with all these time zone differences. But I think this is a good place to start.
Since you were the only person who called us, would you like to see more of me and Benet doing these? A live reaction. There you go.
Well, there's no you have to be on the fly, right? When you do a live video, you have to. There's no editing. You just kind of go with the flow and what's happening. And we jumped all over the place. But even though this is a horror channel per se, you'll realize as we have these kind of live chats, I'm going to branch off into other things I'm interested in. I love Star Wars and Star Trek and pop culture and all kinds of films. So these live streams will definitely jump around. And
that's right.
Yeah, because I think you get to know a little bit more about us or whoever I bring on when you do things live.
You better not bring anyone else on live other than me.
Well,
if
it's a female, you're going to get kicked to the curb. So.
If it's a female, I'm going to come in the conversation and start getting all bitchy with everybody. What are you?
Okay, everybody.
I'll put on the wig and we're laughing.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. I don't ask that much because I shouldn't have to tell you to do those things. If you like the show, you like it. I'm not comfortable selling myself in that way, so I don't bring it up too much, but I am bringing it up now. Patreon, I've thought about that, but if I was to do something like that, my channel would have to be a lot more popular and people would have to request it. And if I ever did it, I'll just be totally transparent. I would have to offer you something that you're not already getting on a free channel. That's just my comfort zone. Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna like, here, spend money on me, it needs to be something exclusive that you're not just gonna get already from the channel that you're watching. So I've never discussed that before. It's not why I started this channel. I'm a fan first, and I love talking shop. I love talking movies and things like that. So but again, I'm still a 2-month-old channel, very new at this. So
not doing too bad for 2 months.
Well, you know what? I'm here to not be rich or famous. I'm here to have fun and learn stuff from other people. They can learn from me. That's kind of what I said in my intro video. It's and I stick by that. So, all right, Malcolm, I had a great conversation. Look for the retrospective on The Dentist on Wednesday. And that's it, folks. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it.
Take care, Rod.